Okay, Dave here, Journey to the Outdoors. I have a great video for you today. I believe this is a first of its kind, actually. I searched all around as long as I could to try and find some sort of video on YouTube, through Google, Yahoo, all of these other places. Could not find anything that was exactly like I'm about to show you. So, loving to be the first to bring you guys things like this and tips that are not out there. This is one of them. So, what I have here is a replacement, a hack, a DIY, a homemade replacement glass of the Coleman lantern. Okay, now you probably have, if you have a Coleman propane lantern, you probably have broken the glass before. They're like $10, probably 15 if you look on like Amazon or something like that to replace it. Who wants to keep doing that? They're like fragile as glass. You pay $20 for the lantern, and then you end up buying a little LED lantern that works just as good, but then it makes you mad because you spent all of this money. You spent all of this money for a glass lantern. So, anyways, here I have a little hack. I'm going to get onto this. So, what I did was I took a jar. I like to keep my jars because I do a lot of canning. But I had a little jar that I had laying around the house, and I was like, well, let me go ahead and look at how do you cut glass. I like to make my own. I know that the glass is actually tempered. That is not what I'm referring to right now, but that's basically the strength of it, kind of like with the difference between a soft edge knife and a hardened edge knife, a steel knife, a carbon edge knife. So as long as you're not cooling it too fast after you've had it burning for a while, you should be okay with having a considerably thick glass as a lantern globe. So you should be okay with that. I've tried it out and it's been working fine. I don't let it cool down too fast, so it's been fine for me. But caution as these are probably not tempered glass, depending on what you're using. So anyways, to go forward, what I did was I took a caliper and I measured the diameter of what the glass should be. And I knew that the outside diameter was like 105, if I'm correct, in millimeters, of course, 105 millimeters on the outside. So I searched around for my glass, my jars that I have, and a couple of them came pretty close. This actually happens to be like a pickle jar, and for that, it's actually a thicker piece of glass. So I think that it can withstand, or I thought that it could withstand the temperature change, the back and forth. So anyways, and it's a little bit more durable because it's thicker. So went online and found out I can use the little fire and rope method to actually cut the glass. So that caused me to have to get some acetone for not acetone. This is actually a nail polish remover. So it's acetone, 100% acetone nail polish remover. So when and got that for like $97 at your local Wally World, 97 cents. That would make this little hack pretty expensive if it was $97, but 97 cents. Went and got that and used some old rope and tied it up, put it on the bottom there to take the bottom out of the jar. The circumference of the neck was okay because it can sit into the top of the lantern. It can actually set in there. I'll take this apart in a second. I'll show you. But then I lit that and cold dunked it into water, and that took the bottom of the jar off. So I'm going to keep this jar just in case this one breaks in the future. So like I said, I've tested it out and taken it apart, and it's worked fine for me. And after I took the bottom of the jar off, I was like, okay, so Now I have relatively pretty good glass, a pretty straight line for what I need it to be, and then I put my jar on the top of my lantern, and this thing is I think like at least 4, 5, 6 years old. And I had some mantles, put my mantle on, got those fired up, and I put my jar on top, and that's what we have. So as you can see here, I don't want to bust my mantle. Those are the last two I have right now, and it'll cost me another $5 to go and get some, which is ridiculous because I bought these on clearance for 97 cents for a pack of 4, and I've had them for like 5 years. So, and they work just fine. That just makes me mad that they raised the price. But anyways, if you're frugal like myself, like I said, this is what this tip is. So I'm keeping the jar, and that's what the jar looked like before. That's what it looks like now. It fits on top. It fits on top of there, and I had to kind of change the little tabs there a little bit at the top, but that's soft metal that can be bent back to the normal glass, and then I mount it back on, get that in the center, and it works out fine. So like I said, this is just a frugal tip. If you want to, I would definitely suggest checking it out and trying it for yourself if you want. Otherwise, if you want to keep spending the 10, 15, you know, who knows, next year it's not going to be $15 for the glass. Who knows, you know? So you have to I'm about, you know, self-preservation and definitely being self-reliable. You know, just relying on yourself. So doing little things if you can to save a few bucks here and there. But it works out great. You know, we're in the house, but I don't recommend lighting it up in the house. But I will show you here just for a quick few seconds that it actually worked. Because we go out fishing, and this can be just as good as a little light up as any other one. But as I said, don't do this in the home, but just for demonstration purposes, I will just show you here real quick that it actually worked. And there we go. Alright, and it's working fine. As you can see, it's lighting. It's burning. It'll heat up. I let it dry. I mean, let it cool off, let it sit somewhere and cool off, and it works out fine. Alright, that's Dave here, JTO. Little tip there, how to replace your Coleman glass.